Before starting the setup procedure on your system, make sure you are wearing your protective clothing, safety goggles, and nitrile gloves. Mixing the A and B chemicals in the correct proportions is important to producing quality foam. Producing foam with an improper ratio of A to B chemicals can affect foam quality. Outfitting your system with our industry-exclusive mini proportioner provides perfect chemical metering, the highest quality foam, and ensures maximum yield from your chemicals every time you use your system with no calibration required. Systems not equipped with a mini proportioner will provide high-quality foam and high yield by following a simple calibration process. Calibration should be checked at system startup, approximately halfway through a normal workday, and if the temperature changes by more than 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Calibration should also be checked if foam quality becomes noticeably different and whenever maintenance is performed on the system. Make sure that the dispenser, the chemical cylinders, the nitrogen cylinder, and all hoses are installed as described in the startup procedures. Check all hose connections to be sure that there are no leaks. For calibration, remove the plastic nozzle if one is installed. Place a 32-ounce cup on the scale. Tear the scale to read 0, then remove the cup. Open the A chemical valve only and close the B chemical valve on the dispenser. Using a stopwatch, fully depress the trigger on the dispenser for exactly 3 seconds, directing the flow of the A chemical into the cup. A critical step during calibration is purging the mix cartridge. To do so, open both the A and B chemical valves on the dispenser. Then aim the dispenser into the trash can and pull the trigger for a few seconds to dispense a mixture of A and B chemicals. This step is important because it will reduce crossover within the mix cartridge. Next, open the air injection valve to purge any chemicals from the air injection line. Flush the face of the mixed cartridge with solvent. And then record the weight of the A chemical dispensed. Now, close the A chemical valve on the dispenser, leaving the B chemical valve open. Place a new 32-ounce cup on the scale. Tear the scale to read 0 and remove the cup. Using a stopwatch, fully depress the trigger on the dispenser for exactly 3 seconds, directing the flow of the B chemical into the cup. Repeat the critical steps to purge the dispenser. And then place the cup on the scale and record the weight of B chemical dispensed. To calculate the A and B chemical ratio, divide the weight of the A chemical by the weight of the B chemical. For example, A chemical weighs 66 grams. B chemical weighs 60 grams. 66 grams divided by 60 grams equals 1.1 A to B ratio. All systems should be operated with an A to B ratio in the range of 1.05 to 1.15. If the A to B chemical ratio is above 1.15, adjust the nitrogen pressure on the B chemical up by 10 psi and repeat the calibration procedure. If the A to B chemical ratio is below 1.05, adjust the nitrogen pressure on the A chemical up by 10 psi and repeat the calibration procedure. Reaching the correct A to B ratio may require more than one adjustment. During the calibration process, it may be necessary to reduce the nitrogen pressure on one of the chemical cylinders. This occurs when the proper A to B ratio has not been achieved, and you need to increase the ratio of the chemical that has reached its maximum cylinder pressure of 200 psi. Since you cannot introduce more pressure into a chemical cylinder that is already at its 200 psi maximum, it will be necessary to continue the calibration process by dropping pressure in the other cylinder. Close the nitrogen valve on the chemical cylinder. Remove the nitrogen hose from the cylinder. For the chemical cylinder being adjusted, turn the regulator adjustment valve counterclockwise 1 full turn. Make sure the pressure release valve is closed. Attach the pressure release valve to the chemical cylinder by placing it on the nitrogen fitting on the chemical cylinder. Open the nitrogen valve on the cylinder and verify the cylinder pressure. Slowly open the pressure release valve to allow pressure to drop to a level that is a minimum of 10 psi below the desired level. Close the pressure release valve. Close the nitrogen valve on the chemical cylinder. Remove the pressure release valve from the chemical cylinder. Reconnect the nitrogen hose to the cylinder. Set the nitrogen pressure on the regulator to the desired pressure. Open the nitrogen valve into the chemical cylinder to equalize the pressure to the desired level. Now you may complete the calibration process, making sure that you do not exceed 200 psi in either chemical cylinder. Please proceed to the segment titled Spraying Foam to view a video demonstration of applying foam.